Hi. I thought I would quickly go over a little quick workflow for SMBs that I spun up, and this is one that I've been using. Just quickly go over kind of the steps that we would take when we're spinning up a new campaign, and also kind of defining where we get our audiences from, what engagement channels we'll use, and kind of what nurture tools that we'll use as well. So the first kind of steps we want to take is obviously defining our campaign objectives. Well, what's the focus of the campaign? For us and for the purpose of this demo, we're going to be focusing on AI webinars. It's something that been getting a lot of traction, and I've been booking a lot of meetings and getting a lot of positive feedback. So it's something that I think works and resonates with the people that I reach out to. The next step would be defining our marketing materials. So that would be flyers, videos, landing pages, anything that you have spun up that's going to use as either takeaways or that you can use as kind of nurture materials. You want to have that in place before we start this campaign. And then finally, we want to define our audience. Who are we going to go after? And for this, I thought we'd go after chambers of commerce. I work with a nonprofit out in Montreal doing these AI webinars. And I noticed that a few other people were posting on LinkedIn that they had done different kind of webinars for chambers of commerce in the U.S. And I thought that'd be a great way to start in Canada, is to go after some chambers of commerce and offer them some kind of webinar, AI webinar for their members. So one of the tricky things about going after members of chambers of commerce is you want to find the people that work there, but at the same time, a lot of the members are going to list themselves either as directors on the board, or just that they are a member of that chamber, and then LinkedIn will sometimes kind of list those people as being employees, or it'll get muddied up, right? So we're going to test a few different ways that we can kind of look at pulling in this audience for us. There's a couple of tools that I like to use. I bounce between Clay and LinkedIn Sales Navigator a lot. Appify is a new tool that I've been using, and it just has a bunch of different scrapers built into it. So it's really giving you a lot of different options on how you can find the information that you're looking for, and it's really great at scraping at scale as well when you're looking for these. So that's the best thing I would suggest, is start with a big audience, and then work yourself down and target on the pieces or the triggers that you want to focus on. So if we take a look at this, we can take a look at, I ran a few different methods of looking for chambers of commerce. So I want to show you first Sales Navigator. So if you look in Sales Navigator, their search is really great. I don't know if they've improved it recently, but somebody had mentioned that one of the best features of LinkedIn is the search ability, and for some reason it works really well. I try and define the criteria that we're looking for here with their kind of filters, but I find if you put in the Chamber of Commerce here, this one of my other customers actually showed this to me, where we were looking for executives in the healthcare industry, and by typing in executives in healthcare, we got a lot of really accurate results for some reason, more so than using filters. And you'll see here that there's 966 results. So, here's a great starting point. You can see that these are all chambers of commerce. You can see this has 0 employees, so, sometimes 46. So it's really bouncing between, a lot or none. So it's a little tricky to try and use the contacts here. But if you want to, you could kind of save these. But again, you could save this to a list. The funny thing with LinkedIn Sales Nav is it saves a page at a time, right? So you can't even save the entire 966. You can only save one page. And it kind of makes sense, but if you want to manipulate this data and take a look at it, it's really difficult to do, like I said. Clay has another feature in it where you can actually just do searches with it, and I think I've shown you that in a couple of videos, but we can go back and look at that at any time. But it allows you to kind of just, if you want to create a new table, we can go here and you can see that you can search and find companies from LinkedIn. So what you could do is start with the lookalike, which I really like to do, is just find either a chamber of commerce that you like and just dump in the URL. If it's working with other companies, then I find clients that they're existing in their existing user base, or clients that they're made case studies on that they like working with, and we look after clients like that. So if we look at chambers of commerce, I can show you kind of the results that we got, and it's kind of interesting to see that when we did chambers of commerce with Clay in Canada, we had 4,500 results. So that was great, but at the same time, it was also showing us that a lot of these places weren't chambers of commerce. I put some filters on to show you that what we want to do is, because I can manipulate the data in this table using kind of AI agents, what we did is just create a simple filter, right? So we want to filter on chamber and commerce in the name, and that pulled up 113. So out of this 113, we have a good starting point where I can say, okay, these are all good chambers of commerce that are in Canada. We even have descriptions of what they do, right? So 1999, you can read the description here if you want. and it'll give you a bit more background information. So now that you have that, one of the tricky things is, okay, so now how do we reach out to these people? So that's where your scrapers come in. So you can see here that there's 113. I still didn't pull the 966, and if I'm looking at my sales nav list, I can go down to like the middle, and you can see that these are still all chambers of commerce. So Belleville, St. Albert. So I know I'm missing some. So I said to myself, well, we can try Appify. So Appify is basically a scraper, a Google Map extractor. And what we do is we put in some criteria and some search criteria, and it'll go out and scrape based on Google Maps and based on the API, and it'll pull up all of the chambers of commerce. It luckily has categories that actually Google uses as well. So, in the categories, we found chambers of commerce, and we use chambers of commerce in the categories. So I think that was one of the reasons why I think this is going to come close to our 966. So I'm going to wait for this to run. And when it does run, then we'll have hopefully closer to 966, and then I'm going to dump that into here. So what I did was, just to give you a starting kind of look, is I used the 113 that we had here, and I built out a little agent to go visit their websites, because for most of these, if you go and check out their actual page, right, you should be able to find like a contact or something like that, right? And that contact is a general contact that you can send inquiries. And my inquiry is basically, hey, if you're interested in an AI webinar, I kind of give a background of what it is, and I even created some drafts of these kind of messages if I want to automate that. I personally, like I said, I build out these drafts and then I customize them when I send them out. But this gives you an example of how you can kind of create a draft, and it's going to create this. So first things first is we checked for the emails. So basically I built this scraper bot that went and visited the company's website. It looked for the contact information, and then it filled it in for us. These aren't personal contact, these are just general contact information that we found. And we also had it say no, obviously, when it didn't, right? So the last thing we're going to do here is just filter on this column and make sure that does not contain no. And that'll pull up all the email addresses. For some reason, we still have the no here. And there we go. So now we have all of the ones with the email addresses that were kind of found. What's missing, so we don't have that one. All right, and email protected. So we've drafted this. Now the next step is, if I want to look at my table here, is we've created the audience. Now our next step is our engagement channels. So for engagement channels, we have a lot of different choices. For myself personally, if you're looking for a good response rate, I highly recommend, LinkedIn does have a great response rate. But here's the tricky thing about LinkedIn. The best way to get a response from somebody is to message them directly, and the best way to be able to message them directly is to connect with them. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg. You don't want to send a connection request. Sometimes you do want to be blunt. Like I just accepted a connection request on LinkedIn because the person who sent it was very clear about why he was sending it. It was a webinar that I was interested in, so I accepted his connection request, and I will most likely sign up for the webinar. So if you're upfront and honest, I think that's the best way to be. And like I said, because these are contacts from the company page, we can reach out to these directly without any personal information being scraped, which I think works for us, right? So that would be the next step, is engagement channels, choosing between LinkedIn, choosing between email, what kind of emails. Do you want to go cold? Do you want to make sure that you have some kind of permission? Obviously in Canada you need that if you're sending to personal, so some kind of business kind of arrangement or some kind of business activities that you've had between you and the contact. If not, then again, like I said, LinkedIn is a great way to do it, but you also have the ability to kind of use Google, and you can pump in those email and those addresses into Google. You need a certain amount minimum, but once you do that, then Google can help you advertise to those actual people through kind of Google ads in their mail and stuff like that. But that's again a bit more complex, and you need a bigger user base to be able to do those things. So again, like I said, I start with Smart Lead AI. It's a great way to reach out directly. Clay gives me the ability to find the people's contact details, information, also clean my list. LinkedIn I will use to do most of my outreaches. I use Expandy to help me scale some of this stuff, which is a great tool. And Loom I've been using more because I really like creating a quick personalization video, and then I send that usually with my outreach, and it really depends on who I'm reaching out to. But it's great because it helps me see who's actually kind of looked at the video and who's watched it, kind of gauges their interest, right? And the most important piece, I guess, after is nurture. Why I say it's the most important piece is because majority of the time, 70% I want to say of these people that you reach out to aren't going to reply. So, not on the first engagement, right? So you want to pump these back in, and those engagement channels can include LinkedIn posts. I put Canva on here because it's an AI tool that I love, and I use it to create kind of quick posts and stuff. You want to definitely use Sales Nav, and you want to be able to follow along with those people that you kind of reached out to and see what's going on with them. And if there's anything new and interesting with them, then you can actually reach out at the right time. And you can also set that up with Clay. And so you can build the table. You can have Clay go out and check for these kind of signals every now and then you can have that run an automated workflow. And what that will do is basically run through your table, right, with Clay, and it'll make sure that it indicates what to do when any changes that you flagged happen, and then when that happens, it can send you a message. So I think that's really a great way that you can use Clay once you have defined and once you reach out to your audience to nurture as well, to help you stay on top of leads when there's any changes in the account or anything that happens that would be worthwhile for you to reach out. So this took a little longer than I expected, so I'm going to post this to my blog, and then I'll post a quick snippet to LinkedIn as well to see if anybody on LinkedIn wants to check it out.